Woke ideology eroding war fighting capability inside Pentagon, new congressional report warns. To that, I would say no doy. I mean, you're making our military soft by putting in this ideology. This has nothing to do with war. I mean, if people really knew what war really means, what fighting really means. I'm a veteran. I understand what it takes to be a warrior. Like this nonsense that they put in there, this woke nonsense that they put in there has nothing to do with defending our country. But before we get started, go ahead, hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Now, when you hit that alarm bell, you can change it from personal to all. That way, you get all notifications from when I'm putting out stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. And there's also a link to my Instagram where I put out even more news. Check that out as well. All right, let's talk about this news. And again, I'm gonna reiterate this woke ideology. It has no place in the military. It's ridiculous. You got China and Russia laughing at us over this woke stuff. I mean, Russia put out a whole commercial making fun of the whole woke ideology, and they putting this stuff in the in our military. It has no place for it. But a report released Monday by two Republicans in Congress alleged the Biden administration's injection of liberal ideologies like critical race theory into the Pentagon is harming military readiness and safety of the troops. Quote, President Joe Biden and his administration are weakening America's war fighters through sustained assault fueled by woke virtue signaling. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida and Rep. Chip Roy of Texas wrote on the new report titled Woke Warfighters How Political Ideology is Weakening America's Military. They go on to say, quote, our military's singular purpose is to provide for the common defense of our nation. They also wrote, quote, it cannot be turned into a left-wing social experiment. It cannot be used as a cudgel against America itself, and it cannot be paralyzed by fear of offending the sensibilities of Ivy League faculty lounges or progressive pundits. I totally agree with everything in that statement. I mean, it boggles the mind. Again, it goes back to intent. Are they intentionally trying to destroy us? Are they intentionally trying to destroy our military? It's been look how many people that's leaving the military because of the mandates. We lost so many military members because of that, and it's hard to recruit even more people into the military because of that. It's like this has to be intentional. No one does this by accident. Again, like I keep saying about everything else that's going on when it comes to this country and the Biden administration, this is all by design. And his puppet master, Barack Obama. The two conservative lawmakers stated that liberal ideology and emphasis on diversity and inclusion over warfighting is affecting every aspect of Pentagon readiness and capability, including the operations of America's elite forces. Quote, the only goal of our special forces should be effectiveness, they wrote. Every other consideration must be subordinate to and in service of that end. Diversity can indeed contribute to that goal. Our nation is at its best when everyone is able to bring his or her talents to bear on an objective without discrimination. But forcing our military to engage in DEI training encourages supporting and advancing people on criteria other than competence and the ability to carry out the mission. And that's a great point right there. Meritocracy. They are trying to get rid of meritocracy instead of people, hardworking people that work hard for years, put in the work, and show competency, awarding them and raising them through the ranks. They rather want people to be raised through the ranks because of their race or gender or what have you. That has no place for the military. It's supposed to be about mediocrity. You want the best of the best to be put in these positions. The lawmakers allege that the administration's recent security strategy ranked racial diversity and inclusion over other threats. Quote, the first topic listed by the Biden administration is promoting diversity and inclusion. That ranks above preventing suicide, reducing sexual assault, and other forms of violence against and amongst our service members, the report noted. To the Biden administration, advancing their woke ideology is more important than keeping our soldiers safe, which is utterly, utterly ridiculous. It's utterly nonsense. It shows you what they really care about. They really don't care about soldiers. They care about pushing their ideology. The report also argues the injection of critical race theory into military academies um, has signaled a desire to, quote, indoctrinate a new generation of military leadership. But its focus on race was actually harming military cohesion. Quote, everyone has heard the saying, there are no atheists in a foxhole, they wrote. Corollary may be that there is no racial discrimination on the battlefield. The U.S. military is one of those few institutions in America where the skills of the men on either side of you could mean the difference between life and death. It embodies Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s notion of judging men on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. But they're not even teaching that in schools anymore. You know, you should see some of the things they say about Martin Luther King, and you shouldn't be. They want you to pay attention to a person's color rather than their character, which makes no sense. Quote, there is no time there is no time for, and there should be absolutely no tolerance of racism within the ranks, the report added, which I do agree with that. But the whole pushing this ideology, this woke ideology, is destroying our military. We're becoming the laughing stock of the world, whereas our military used to be looked at as one of the strongest in the world, and now again we're jokes of the world. You should see some of this stuff that China is putting out, and things like that. They show our military walking around in heels, and all this other crazy stuff because of this crazy administration. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace. Oh,